The first fight we have on this card is a matchup between Dhiego Lima and Matt Brown, which is a welterweight matchup. Matt Brown is 24-18. He's the plus 145 underdog. And then you got Dhiego Lima, who is 17-8 and is the minus 170 favorite. What do you see in this matchup?
Well, let's start with Dhiego Lima. Dhiego isn't going to knock you out, but does have the power. He's more than likely going to keep the distance using his jab while looking for a chance to get a takedown and then try to lock in one of his go-to submissions. Recently, he's been going the distance more often than not. His one glaring weakness has been his chin, with him being knocked out 4 times in the past. But something worth noting is that since returning to UFC, he hasn't been knocked out. I don't see him getting knocked out in this one, which brings me to Matt Brown, who's a well-rounded fighter with 14 KO wins, 6 submission wins, but is most known for his knockout power. He uses his elbows extremely well in the clinch. Just go back and look at that fight with Diego Sanchez, but is susceptible to being taken down. He's been submitted 10 out of his 18 losses where he's given up his neck and has been choked out all 10 times. So he's not going to get you, you're not going to get caught in an arm bar. He's not going to get caught in omoplatas and stuff like that. He's going to get choked. His jiu-jitsu is good with a brown belt, but he could have trouble going up against Dhiego Lima if this fight goes to the ground. I expect Matt Brown to actually work from the distance and do most of his work in the clinch, get Dhiego up against the cage, and work on some dirty boxing, utilize those elbows. I'm surprised with the odds in this one. I thought it was going to be much closer than it was, and I actually thought that Matt Brown was going to be the favorite, which is why I went with Matt Brown. I'm going Matt Brown by decision. I think it's going to be a rough week for the Lima brothers.
Yeah, definitely. If you didn't see it on Friday, his brother Douglas lost his championship to Yaroslav Amosov in basically a one-sided affair. And then Amosov became the first Ukrainian to win a major title.
Yeah.
But to start off with Dhiego Lima, he's Brazilian. He's fighting out of Atlanta, Georgia. He's 31 years old, 171 pounds. He's 6'2" with a 77-inch reach. He fights out of America Top Team Atlanta. Then you got Matt Brown, who is fighting out of Cincinnati, Ohio. He's 40 years old, 171 pounds. 6 foot with a 76-inch reach, and then he fights out Strong Style Fight Team and Immortal Martial Arts Center. So he has 2 gyms that he fights out of. With Dhiego Lima, he has a Muay Thai background. He loves to throw the counter left hook. And one thing that he does is he sort of telegraphs at that left hook too much. So if Matt Brown can game plan right, he should be able to telegraph it and counter it. Then Lima likes to throw leg calf kicks. That's going to be a thing that might help him out in this matchup. His takedown defense is really good on the first attempt, and then it gets a little bit worse afterwards. He gets the first attempt, but then he kind of gets a little bit lazy afterwards. He tends to have low volume, and he has a suspect chin, but he does have the power on his side, which he can use. Whereas Matt Brown, he has the basic stand-up style. He uses a straight right hand and then an elbow. He's very flat-footed and struggles against the leg kicks, which is why I said that could be Lima's go-to in this matchup. And Matt likes to clinch and change levels to get his opponent down. And his cardio has been pretty decent. It's not great, but it's not good. But I feel like in his matchup, I feel like Matt Brown's going to be able to get the clinch and get the takedowns pretty easily. He's going to do that to avoid the leg kicks because I feel like Liam is going to do a lot of leg kicks to do damage to him, and it's going to hurt Matt Brown. But I think early on it's going to happen, and it's going to lead to the clinch. And I think that's where Lima's going to struggle. You saw his brother struggle against the takedowns with the Amosov. That's a different story, but I think his brother's better than him with defending them. And I could see this being a unanimous decision victory by Matt Brown, but don't be surprised that if it might be a split decision because of those leg kicks, because I feel like those are going to do damage and slow down Matt Brown. And then a guy at his age, he shouldn't be taking too much of those leg kicks unless he knows how to defend him. But I got Matt Brown by unanimous decision.
Nice. I think I agree with you 100%. I think the leg kicks are going to play a factor, and whether or not Brown checks them is going to be the one of the deciding factors in this fight. The other one is the clinch, like you said.
Yeah.
Whoever can get their opponent have their back on the cage is going to win this fight,
Yeah.
I think, because they're both tall guys, and once you cut their cage and you put them on their the back heel against the end of the cage, it's really hard to kind of set up those punches, especially a really good counter left or that jab. It's really hard to find your range there when you're kind of boxing in a phone booth. So I'm with you, man. I'm going to go with Matt Brown. I was surprised when you picked Matt Brown, but I'm happy.
Yep. But let's move on to